Yes, good day once again. Now, yesterday I posted a picture of why we should all quit our jobs. And I quit my job, and personally, it has worked out in my favor. Now, when I posted that post, I posted it not to encourage you to quit your job, but I posted you to analyze your true life, analyze your job. So, this is what happens to most of you. Each and every single day, you wake up very early, you prepare yourself. If you have kids, you prepare your kids, drop them off at school, and then you rush to work. That's the lifestyle of many people. That's what a lot of people do. You go to work, if you're lucky, if you work for the government, lucky for you. At least there you can decide what time you get to go to work. Because this government of ours is a sleeping government. No one gets to be reprimanded or anything of the sort. But those that work in the private sector, I'm sure many of you can recall a video of a security guard that was sleeping on duty and he got a rude awakening. As you know, that's what happens in the private sector. When you sleep on duty, unfortunately, that's what's going to happen to you. But in government, obviously, you can sleep. That's not a problem. Some of you go to work by 10, you knock off by 1, only to come back the next morning. Friday, it's a worst case scenario. There is never anyone in the offices. So you guys there, lucky for you, you're on happy holiday. But for some of us in the private sector, it basically means that if the work starts at 7, then you have to be at work at 7 and you have to clock in. It's not this manual system of you write your name that you were there by 7 o'clock. No, you clock in. There's a clocking system that checks exactly what time you got to the office, what time you left the office. Now, the problem is with having a job is that you're a human being that's being controlled by another human being. So you are not different from a cow being controlled by a human being or a dog being controlled by a human being. I'm not calling you a dog. That's not what I'm saying. But your behavior is as one of that. Because you do exactly everything to the dot. In the name of what we call a paycheck. Now this paycheck, you only get it after giving 30 days of your service. Usually it's 20 days because you get to have the weekend off. But there are some people who don't get the weekend off. So that basically means that they work throughout the whole entire month. Now, coming back to why I said you should all quit your job. Now, the truth of the matter is, Namibia has one of the highest unemployment rates in comparison to its population. Remember, you guys are not even 3 million. But in terms of your unemployment rate, it's so high. Now, if you honestly ask yourselves, had I been working for the company that I was working for, and I had not quit my job, would I today be able to sit in a position where I'm able to create employment for my fellow Namibians? The answer would be automatically no. The reason why most of us quit our jobs is so that we can become job creators. We don't just quit our jobs for the sake of wanting to quit our jobs. We quit our jobs because first of all, we want to start doing what we're passionate about. The work that I used to do, I used to be like a machine. I work 12 hours a day, every single day. I get a few days off, and then it's back to the same routine. And I was doing basically the same thing. At the end of the day, I was like a programmed computer because I could close my eyes and do exactly as I'm supposed to do because this thing became a routine habit. As a result, my work became boring. Plus, I was making tons of millions for this company that I was working for, but what they paid me as peanuts. Now, I used to earn a salary of close to 16 to 18,000. But today, I can easily earn that salary just by sending out one quotation. That's what I can earn per day. In fact, it's in a couple of hours' time. Because all I have to do is send the quotation. If it's approved, then voila. I've got what I would usually earn at my previous employer within a couple of minutes. Now, it's fine. All of you can argue that we cannot all be entrepreneurs, we cannot all be business people, we cannot all be what. But there is something that you can be. And that is what God created you to be. God didn't create you to be on this earth just to be bossed around by other people. God didn't create you just to come and merely live a life with no meaning. Because that's what many of you are living. A life with absolute no meaning. All you do is go to work, get paid, and pay your bills. Most of you, as we speak, you are praying for your pension. And the worst part is once you get your pension, you realize that your pension money is actually little. And you start crying to go back to work. Most of you are going to find yourself at 60. You're going to get your pension, most probably be out of work for a year. And after 1 year, you would have accumulated so much debt that you will have to beg for another job so you can start taking care of your debts. And this is no lie. Numbers don't lie. Close to 1 million Namibians are living in debt. These are the figures. You can argue otherwise. And most of this debt is actually bad debt. Because it's only debt based on consumer. Whether it's debt of that new iPhone that you bought, whether it's debt from your new TV that you're enjoying, whether it's debt from the new clothes that you're still paying off. So don't forget to go pay your accounts. I know most of you already have started finishing the money, but you have not yet paid your accounts. So first go and finish paying your accounts. And that is going to be your life for the rest of your life. You work, you get paid, you pay your debts, and that's it. Isn't that a miserable life? You're never going to have enough time to watch your kids grow up because you're always at work. You're never going to have sufficient time to go check your children play soccer, netball, whatever the case is. Because why? You will be doing work most of the time. Some of you even have to go to the extent of working overtime because the pay is so little. If someone has to work overtime, then that basically means that their expenses have become more. Now they have to put in more effort, more time in order to just get a little bit more money to be able to cover their debts. And the problem with many of you, this debts that you are consuming is to please your neighbors. You have bought a new microwave, but the old microwave still works. You bought this new microwave just simply because your neighbor got a microwave. But little did you know, your neighbor has a few stocks. Little did you know, your neighbor has created businesses that bring him or her passive income. But now you're doing what your neighbor is doing, but you have absolutely no idea where that neighbor of yours is getting the extra income. You, on the other hand, you're putting yourself into more debt. And as a result, most of you won't be able to quit your jobs. Why? Because you're in what? You're in debt. And I could see how many of you were going crazy when I said, quit your job. Well, I know you can't quit your job because you're in debt. Someone has to pay your bills. That's obvious. Now you first get yourself out of debt. Once you've gotten yourself out of debt, allow your income to start creating passive incomes. Spend less on liabilities. Trying to be seen every weekend at the fancy restaurant. It's not to anyone's benefit. It's to your own disadvantage. Rather than spending $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 every month in the restaurant, that's money that you could essentially be using to grow your money. Now the saying is true that you need money to grow money. But it is also true that it's actually ideas that will enable you to actually grow more money. And if you think I'm lying, SWAPO where there is now a lot of infighting and politics, was once upon a time just an idea. But this idea has now transcended into what we call today government. Yes, you can say, but that's a stupid scenario to use. Well, how about this? The platform you and I are now using, where you are able to watch me live, called Facebook, was once upon a time an idea. But today, it's $1 billion business. And it was all started by someone who's just as simple as you and I. This person wasn't... Did you by any chance hear that Mark Zuckerberg's parents are Jesus or Moses or descendants of any of these people? No. He's just an ordinary folk like you and I, who used his ideas to better his life. Now, if you want to quit your job, first get your life into order. First get your financial life in order. Then you can quit your life. Now, most of you, instead of asking me yesterday, why should I quit my job? All you started doing is, are you smoking weed? You should stop smoking what you're smoking, blah, 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 this. Most of you, even, usually I agree with you, the things that you post, but today I'm not agreeing with you. Well, let me just tell you, I'm not here to please you or whatsoever. I'm going to keep posting what I feel I want to post, and whether you agree with it or not, that's not my business, and that's not my problem, frankly speaking. And whatever I'm smoking, that's frankly none of your business. I can be smoking weed for all I want, but let me tell you what I smoke. I smoke money for a living. That's what I smoke. That's my drug. That's the drug that I use. If in case you guys wanted to know, what's the drug that I use? And most of you are like, please humble yourself. Did I insult anyone? Vakwetu, humble myself for who? For what? For posting a simple fact that you should quit your job? Now I should humble myself? You guys are absolutely absurd. Instead of telling these African leaders or these leaders of yours who are cutting healthcare, who are cutting schools, who are cutting infrastructure projects to humble themselves, you guys have the nerve to tell me to humble myself simply because I said quitting my job was the best thing I ever done and that you should try it? Well, if you don't want to try it, then don't try it. It's not like I've got a gun forced to your head to say you're going to quit your job. No! You do it on your voluntary basis if you want to. And if you don't want to, then you keep your miserable job with your miserable life, with your miserable debts. And that's basically what you're going to be. You're going to be running around like a rat in a circle. And you know what we do? Guys like me, we do for a living? We profit from people like you. That's that. Where do you think I make most of my money from? I make my money from people like you. And yesterday, most of you were like, yeah, first tell your people to quit. Well, I told them to quit. But just like you, they're not going to quit because they need the steady paycheck. That's unfortunately the truth. And I'm going to continue making money with or without your support. And that's what most of you don't understand. That when I have ideas, when I know I've got concrete investments, I've got concrete assets, I do not need you. My assets will continue generating money with or without you. Because at some point or another, somebody is going to need my services. Somebody is going to need my assistance. You might not need it, fine by me. But the next person needs it. And by that virtue, that's how I'm going to keep generating my profits. So please, instead of the whole day focusing on the things that I post, I would advise you to focus on getting a plan, on getting yourself out of debt, managing your debt, and perhaps finally, once you've gotten that into control, you can quit your job and start doing what you really want to do. Most of you are talented. Most of you are gifted. But you're wasting your talents and your fucking gifts. That's what you're doing. And it's a sad and it's a shame that you'd rather be wasting your talents and your gifts that you were given to God by doing a lousy job for the sake of having a steady paycheck. So to you, my brother and my sister, who wants to follow the simple step of quitting your job, my advice to you is get your financial life in order. Get your small income to start generating you bigger incomes. Invest those bigger incomes into assets. Once you've got assets, nobody can take away those assets. But here's the thing. Here's the one thing that school never taught you. The biggest asset that you're going to have, and the biggest assets that you do actually have, is your mind. And it's very important what you put into this thing. If you don't analyze, if you don't see what you're putting into this, then unfortunately, there's absolutely no way you're going to get out of the race that you're finding yourself in. So with that said, thank you so much. Bye-bye.